What's good, world? MIB back with another reaction video. Appreciate everybody tuning in. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button. If you ain't new here, get somebody else to subscribe so we can get the channel popping. I don't gotta pull up and pop you. Let's jump straight into it. If you didn't know, now you know. You're on this channel if you made it this far. You're on this channel, MIB Reacts. Make sure you go, hit that little subscribe button. It's my channel, so obviously I don't see the same settings you do. Let's jump straight into it. I'm doing another MMA video, so if you ain't here for the MMA shit and you're here for the reaction shit, just leave right now. Alright, now that those fuckers are gone, let's get straight into it. Here we are. I wanted to talk about one thing before I said this shit. Hold on, let me light this shit so I can get into it. Now, first I wanted to say that it's always people like Joe Rogan and DC and a lot of people that are in this world that always complain about other people that are not fighters or not in the world that have opinions about the UFC world. And it's always, to me, it always feels like it's always the UFC people that be saying the dumbest shit anyway. So that's why we don't listen to you anyway. It seems sometimes like Joe Rogan forgets that you blew up on, your Joe Rogan podcast, not because of your interviews. You blew up there because you were talking about aliens and all this other crap that people were interested in listening to. Conspiracies and stuff like that. Not because of your MMA talks. People didn't really listen to you for that. People listen to you for, like I just said, conspiracies and the interesting people you're going to bring on there. Never the fight opinions. I wouldn't even take Joe Rogan's opinion on prediction of the fights because half the times he's wrong. Unless he's talking about an up-and-coming fighter, which is always easy to guess because the matchups are always set. But that's a whole nother discussion. Getting into this, I wanted to say that it's always the people in the UFC that have the dumbest opinions. And as you can see right here, we got Khabib and me, and it's me laughing at him saying, yeah, 25 minutes, brother. Knowing that would never fucking happen. Of course, Khabib is okay with nut sniffing for 25 minutes because obviously that's what they literally practice in Dagestan. They literally practice in their own sweat and ball sweat and all that shit because they're okay with that. So obviously they wouldn't mind laying down with another man or having their whatever because they don't even have women fighters. But of course the wrestlers wouldn't mind laying down with another man on a mat and for 25 minutes sweating together and do it. But that's not a combat. That doesn't even sound like a combat sport. That sounds like something you do in your off time when you're into the stuff that you into. No combat sport should ever be a 25-minute long round, and that's why I be saying like the dumbest opinions come from people that have literally done this shit. Thank God Dana would never listen to something like that because that is the dumbest shit I think I ever heard in my life. And then imagine vice versa if we get a runner and a striker and we got to watch them run for 25 minutes. That shit would be the worst fucking thing. And of course people like DC and people like Bo Nickel and Khabib all want to wrestle for 25 minutes until they're in the situation and have to do it for 25 minutes and realize how boring of a fucking fight that would be because nobody would want to watch that. And I know I can't be the only one to say that. We obviously know Khabib wants 25-minute rounds because Khabib is clearly okay with laying on another man for 25 minutes and saying that he won a fight, that he could beat them in a fight, and which is just not the case. I don't know. I just never believed in that. Again, the reason why Khabib is because this sport is the way it is, and that's 5 rounds and him being able to win every round, and that's why Khabib's record is the way it is. Because if it wasn't like that, Khabib wouldn't even be Khabib. So for him to even be saying that is just out his rabbit ass mind, honestly. Jumping straight into my second take. Again, when I say my takes, I don't try to say them disrespectfully. I only say my takes how I would say them to the person. I don't sugarcoat shit. I don't give a fuck who the fuck they are. Trust me, anybody who knows that if I was standing in the room with Khabib and all that, I would say the same shit to them. Of course you want to do that shit. That's the problem with media. They too scared. I ain't scared. I would say this shit to them. I'm not worried about all of this other shit, bro. You're gonna fight me because I called you out on your fighting tactics? I mean, it's helped you win, cool. But is it interesting? No. Would I recommend it? No. And that's why my opinion is my opinion, your opinion is your opinion. Anyway, let's get straight into this one. Nah, not this one yet. Let's do... Let me check what actually I had in here. Actually, it is that one. Next, I wanted to do this video. What got me to actually do this video right here? Hold on, I'm actually gonna. Oh, shit's fucked up. Is Khalil Rountree's. Again, it leads back to Joe Rogan because it seems like Joe Rogan always got some dumb shit to say, and I love Joe Rogan, so I'm just saying that he just sometimes he says crazy shit. This goes back to the Khalil Rountree, the interview he did on Joe Rogan Experience. I didn't watch the whole thing, so I'm not gonna sit here and act like I did. But as far as I got to the trash talk and all that stuff, I just feel like Khalil doesn't understand that the reason he got that hype off that Alex Pereira fight is due to the fact that Alex can say chama, and that's considered trash talk. Okay, like that's considered hyping the fight. That's considered whatever the fuck. If Khalil Rountree keeps going on this road of just thinking that non-trash talk and talking about tea parties and kittens and blueberries and traveling and sunshine all the time is gonna get him more fans or it's gonna get him more popular, I feel like he must be out his damn mind. Because you gotta hope that you win every motherfucking fight in order to do that. And I feel like nobody does that. And you're already in this predicament where you're leaning on this hype of the Alex Pereira fight. Going to people like Chael Sonnen, Conor McGregor, Nate Diaz, fighters that you'll remember. You'll even remember their fights. Not even because of how skillful sometimes, but because of the hype and the build around the fight, the trash talk, all those things. Don't go and be a fighter that wants to be so skillful that they don't say it. They're not confident enough to talk about it. And be a fighter that gets forgotten and the fights don't really get remembered because you couldn't hype up yourself enough or have enough confidence in your fucking self to say, I think I'm better than this person. I'm going to come in here and do whatever I'm in, blah, 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 blah. Whatever your plan is to do. That's still considered trash talk. Hype the fucking fight. Say what you think of this person. Whatever the case may be. Find the angle. Everybody should find a fucking angle. Use the angle. Attack the angle. That's how you have a fight. But thinking that you're not going to be able to trash talk your way there, thinking that you're going to avoid the conflict and you're going to avoid all that shit and still be able to gain that power of the fans, it's just beyond me. You got to be out here. You got to be out your mind. It's been proven millions and millions of times. And it's obviously, yeah, you're going to go make your little bit of money. If that's the career you want to live, okay. But you live in the heart of Las Vegas, of the UFC. If you don't go out there and start fucking calling people out, not literally saying to do this, but I'm saying if you don't go out there and make a name for yourself, people are going to forget you. It's just that simple. People remember people all the way in Ireland because of the trash talk. Not because of the skill, and I mean, obviously because of the legacy, but more because of the trash talk. I'm going to be honest. More because of the trash talk. Not because literally they're the best fighter in the whole world, because they would never have Conor on one of those lists. Anyways, John to the next part. Oh shit, I almost exit out of this completely. Subscribe if you didn't yet. No. Excuse me. Alright. This is me, and this is going to be my opinion on the fights that happened this last weekend, and this is the last time I'm going to talk about it because I don't really want to talk about it. But all the hype around Renier de Reer is just, like I said, it's just hype. He beat Bo Nickel. Bo Nickel wasn't even on his level at all. Bo Nickel was not on RDR's level at all, and we already knew that. I don't even know how. Anyways, Robert Whittaker, on the other hand, he's a great fighter. He's a warrior. But when he goes out there, he always seems to struggle with the higher level opponent. So, meaning the top three. I feel like there's always these fighters that can make it to the top 10. They stay in that level. There's fighters that will always stay in the top 5, and there's fighters that will always stay in the top 3. And and they'll have the champion bouncing around. Robert Whittaker is not a top 3 fighter. Robert Whittaker might be a top 5, maybe a top 10 fighter. So RDR beating him doesn't really throw him into this big window. A lot of people say Robert Whittaker is going to go down in the Hall of Fame. This is one of those careers where I don't see how he was gifted the middleweight championship or whatever the championship. He went on to have one of the worst title defenses. Then he lost. Then he goes on to beat Vittoria, I think it was. And like he just has like this point where he wins and then he loses to the next level of opponent that's obviously clearly better than him. Which is why I feel like RDR's win over Robert Whittaker isn't as hype as everybody thinks it is. Robert Whittaker isn't also the same man that he used to be. Excuse me. RDR's win over Robert Whittaker isn't as hype as everybody says it is. Can't even get past the hiccups. RDR's win over Robert Whittaker isn't as hype as everybody says it is. I'm telling you now, if he got to the top 3, RDR will get completely obliterated, even by Drickus. Literally, I think anybody on that record could literally beat him. And this isn't a downplay to Robert Whittaker, and this isn't a downplay to RDR, but these people are not top 3 fighters. And if you want to argue with me, let me know. But this is how I'm going to end this video, because I've been ending all my videos pretty well. RDR. Not even and I hope I can read it. Obviously, you could beat a Whittaker if you're better than top 5. Obviously, you could beat anybody if you're above the top 5, but you'll never get past the top 3. And that's why that fight and that hype doesn't matter. They always do that type of stuff, I feel like. And if he does get lucky to get one more win, he will never get past the 2, so he'll always be the number. Right. So, speaking to what I was going to say in my last opinion is I wanted to establish the fact that, let me erase this shit. I wanted everybody to know that I don't hate Justin Gaethje because all the shit I was talking. I'm actually a big Justin Gaethje fan, which is why I don't want him to end his career with Ilia Topuria. I know it's a big money fight probably for him, but, if he can pull off 3 scrub fights, 2 scrub fights, 1 scrub fight, just something to get himself back into that, area where we would be happy to see him fight for the championship, then I'd be happy to see it. But if Justin Gaethje never touched the belt again and just fought 3 more times and just went out on a little high road, why not end your career like that? Why does it gotta be belt or retired? That sounds like I said, it sounds like you're telling your manager you're gonna give me a raise or I'm gonna quit. And yes, you think you're a contractor or whatever you think you are, it don't matter. You get paid by a contract, you live by the contract, you fight by the contract. And it's just that simple. That's how I feel it should go. So it's either you choose to live your career on and you choose to give us a good ending, or you choose to try to go rushing towards that belt, possibly to get obliterated, and then all of us have to see you go out like that. That's the difference between Dustin Poirier and a lot of these other fighters, is he realized and he got out when he could, and he doesn't let the sport retire him. And I don't want to see Justin Gaethje go through that shit. I don't think anybody else does either. Appreciate y'all. I'm out of here. Y'all let me know what you think about my takes. They might be stupid. They might be dumb. They might be this. They might be that. But you know what they aren't? They aren't your opinions. They're mine. Appreciate y'all. I'm out of here. Sheesh.